Clerk, the time is 7 p.m. I'm going to call this council meeting to order. Town of Aurora acknowledges that the Anishinaabe lands on which we live and work are the traditional and treaty territory of the Chippewas of Georgina Island, as well as many other nations whose presence here continues to this day. As the closest First Nation community to Aurora, we recognize the special relationship the Chippewas have with the lands and waters of this territory. They are the water protectors and environmental stewards of these lands, and as a municipality, we join them in these responsibilities. We further acknowledge that Aurora is part of the treaty lands of the Mississaugas and Chippewas recognized through Treaty Number 13, as well as the Williams Treaties of 1923. A shared understanding of the rich cultural heritage that has existed for centuries and how our collective past brought us to where we are today will help us walk together into a better future. Council, can I get a motion to approve the agenda with the additional item? Councillor Thompson, Councillor Gallo. Comments, questions? Call a vote. That carries. Any declarations of pecuniary interest? Seeing none, we have no community presentations. We have one delegations. Mr. Shawn Deane, resident, regarding items 8.2.1 and items 8.2.2 and 10.3. Mr. Deane, welcome. 5 minutes. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Happy fall. I hope everyone had a great summer. And thank you for all the work that you do. There's always busy agendas, lots of town business, and it can be, I'm sure, overwhelming. I'm here to speak about, once again, my fourth time budgetary financial matters, and specifically 8.2.2, the 2024 year-end development charge statement update from June of this year, where it states that 400,000 was taken from the tax rate stabilization fund due to development charge exemptions. This revenue loss was replaced through an equivalent transfer from the tax rate stabilization reserve. So that reserve fund has been referenced before. It definitely states, it's on the slide there, that it's established and it's funded from tax source contributions, including surpluses. So, and then specifically with that, it then transfers operating budget funds and allows council to use them in the capital budget instead of the operating budget, which is kind of confusing. But the one concern with that is with Councillor Gallo's 0% tax increase motion and requesting to take 630,000 out of a one-time debit from the same fund. You know, our treasurer, Rachel Van Kessel-Rainwhite, stated in the paper that it would cost the town not one time, but 9 times $5.7 million if we take out of that fund over the 10-year plan. So using the same math, which I don't understand, 9 times the 400,000 would be $3.6 million taken out of the tax or the capital budget planning. So I'm just using the same math. You emailed me the answer that it was 9 times if you take something out once. So I'll let you get back to me with clarification if I've misunderstood your statement. So the point is that's a lot of money, and this is taxpayer funded. So it really is concerning that taxpayers are paying to give developers a break. And this is Bonnie Crombie, you know, campaigned in the provincial election about not making developers richer. So I brought this up, you know, I was concerned a year ago, and that's when I declared initially my no confidence. I met in this building with Adam Robb of the Housing Development Action Plan. And also last year, September 3rd, there was an information report prepared by Jason Gardner, legislative change development charge impact update. And it basically speaks about the impact of the financial impact of these development charges on the town of Aurora. And council asked to be kept apprised. The document goes on to state the financial implications would be minimal in 2024. Potential losses are estimated at 2.9 million, but future losses range between 18 and 37 million when indexation is considered over 10 years. So if this is the trajectory of building more faster, and so that's 5 minutes.
No, you got 1 minute left.
Oh, so that's a concern. I'm sure I work hard for my money, and I don't think you're intentionally disrespecting it or trying to waste it, but I get nothing out of private land development. Nothing. And not even a residual benefit that, oh, we're going to have extra homes, council, to generate extra revenue. It's already been stated by Councillor Gardner that growth doesn't pay for growth. So building one more home today, we're already in the hole. So my recommendations would be to, do a survey with Engage Aurora about this specific matter. Write a new bylaw that protects taxpayers from paying for non-essential expenses, which taxpayers do not receive a benefit, so that I don't have to speak up. And I had 2 more recommendations if I can have the time.
Second. All those in favor? Go ahead, Mr. Deane.
And I would think it's appropriate to voice our opposition to Premier Ford on this Development Charge Act. If developers are exempt, but taxpayers aren't, that's problematic. And I think all municipalities in the province would support that, like they did regarding Bill 108 and 109, which led to the reprisal of these bills, which was to speed up application development. So approving one more development is going to cost us money because growth doesn't pay for growth. I'm just extremely concerned, and we can outright refuse to build. And that sounds maybe radical. We're planning to build 8,000, but something isn't fitting. And to charge taxpayers $37 million over 10 years, when I'm looking to lower taxes, have them zero, there's a concern here. Like there's already a funding gap in the capital budget. Without building another home today. That's not going away. And the new houses aren't going to help pay for that. They're just going to exacerbate it. So, I understand numbers, and I don't know why. I hope council sees it in a similar way, and we can find a solution here. But paying, I can't contribute and participate in paying developers. I'm unemployed. Thank you for the extra time.
Thank you, Mr. Deane. Any comments or questions? Yeah, motion to receive and refer. Councillor Weiss, Councillor Gallo, call the vote. Carries. So move to the consent agenda. Someone like to move that? Councillor Gilliland, seconder. Councillor Kim, Councillor Gallo.
Can I pull 8.2.2?
Which one?
8.2.2.
We're still on the consent only. So we're only on the sevens right now. Only the sevens. I'm getting to the 8 next.
Oh, 8 is not consent agenda?
No, 8
Even
is committee of the whole.
Even though
meeting.
it says it. Okay.
Committee of the whole meeting.
It says consent. Okay.
There's 2 consent. There's
Okay.
2. Yes.
So-
There's consent under the committee of the whole.
It's okay. I'll wait.
Yes. Okay. So I got a mover and a seconder. Yes. Thank you. Any comments, questions? Call a vote. That carries. Any items that any member of council would like pulled from 8 and 9? Councilor Gallo, 8.2.2, correct? Yes, thank you. Any others? Councilor Gilliland.
Thank you. 8.7.1, but there's also an additional report
Yep,
that I'd like to have included in that.
we'll put those two together. Thank you. Any others? Councilor Gallo?
0.5.2, please.
Any others? No. Can I get a motion to approve the remaining items minus 8.2.2, 8.5.2, and 8.7.1? Councilor Thompson, seconder. Councilor Weiss, thank you. Call vote. That carries. 8.2.2. Councilor Gallo, you pulled this. This one is an info report. Did you want to move it? Thank you. Seconder. Councilor Gilliland. Go ahead, Councilor Gallo.
Thank you. Just on, I guess to Mr. Deane's point, he left. On page 86 of 600 on our agenda, or 4 of 6 of the report. Just the last paragraph there, it says, as presented by Part 5 Development Charges Exemption Summary under Attachment 5, the town lost a total of 0.4 million due to DC exemptions. This revenue loss was replaced through an equivalent transfer from the tax rate stabilization reserve. Through you, Mr. Mayor, I'm just trying to understand the whether or not there's a delegated authority in order for staff to do that. Obviously, I don't believe, unless someone can point to it, that this came to council and council approved that. Could I get a sense of what the authority was to fund that shortfall from the rate stabilization fund, please?
Swear Van Kessel.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. So over the last year or so, since all these changes happened with respect to development charges and particularly with respect to the exemptions, there's been a lot of work that's happened across municipalities within the province to determine how the treatment of exemptions and different types of exemptions should be handled. So the legislation speaks to the exemptions may have to be replaced with non-DC sources. So recently, even as recent as this month, there's been information that has come to light that indicates there are basically 2 different treatments for exemptions. And the one is if the municipality decides to make an exemption. For example, the report later this evening about the first-time home buyers, that would be a choice by the municipality to issue an exemption. Then we would be required to replace the DCs that would be lost. If the exemption is legislated, there was a lot of ambiguity as to how that was handled. And that's why we parked these funds just in the growth and new reserve for now, because you can't actually put them in DCs due to accounting treatment and revenue recognition rules, which is another story. But so we parked it in the growth and new reserve to give us time to figure out what we actually need to do with this. And what are now our understanding, which is consistent with many municipalities across Ontario, is that exemptions that are identified within the legislation itself are not required to be replaced by municipalities. Municipalities can choose to replace those, but to do that, we would need to make a policy decision at council. For example, York Region did decide to replace those lost DCs that came through exemptions. So what we plan to do is move the funds back to how they'd be dispersed through the surplus deficit management policy that was applied for last year, and we'll redistribute those to the asset management reserves as appropriate. And we can bring a report forward in the new year that speaks to this type of policy direction on exemptions to get clarity from council as to if council wants to replace these exemptions, these legislative ones, or if we do not. And then we'll explain the implications of both sides of that in that report.
Counselor?
Thank you. I'm trying to digest all of that. Well, two things. First, is there a delegated authority for from us to staff to take that deficit and pay for it from this rate stabilization fund? Number one. Number two, I think I heard that maybe it's a temporary thing and then we'll be putting it back, but I'm not sure. Through you, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Van Kessel?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, we temporarily put in the growth and new reserve until we could get a better understanding of the legislative requirements around this, because if legislation required us to do it, then that would trump any decision that council would make, and then we would have to apply it to there. And then we'd also actually likely create a new reserve to support lost development charges. But in this case, because we now have more clarity, we don't have to do this, we can then distribute it out to the various reserves.
Council?
So will that reserve be replaced? That 400,000 will be replenished by another method? I'm still not clear on the strategy and also the authority of staff being able to fund that from. You mentioned another reserve, but the rate stabilization fund is where this is being funded from. Through you, Mr.
Van Kessel?
So under the delegated authority, it's not specified there. We were doing it with the provision that we may have to be legislatively required to do it. So that was part of the understanding and the clarification that we needed is under legislation, are we required to replace these funds? That's why I want to bring forward a report that actually identifies what we can do and what the different policy options are if we decide to replenish the DC reserve or we decide not to, and what the implications are of doing that or not doing that so we can make an informed decision.
Counselor?
Okay, I'll leave it at that. I guess if something else is going to come forward, obviously, if we're that's in my view, a delicate fund. And I believe we at this table should be in control of it unless we've given authority to staff to do it. So if this is a temporary concept, okay. But I would like to know more in terms of, I guess, in the next report to better understand how we're dealing with it, because this is not a one-off. I suspect it's going to just get worse. So we have to figure out how to do this, and we can't keep funding it from the rate stabilization fund.
Thank you. Councilor Thompson?
Thank you. Certainly, I support the idea of coming back and having a broader conversation. And to Councilor Gallo's points, I mean, I do think that the issue will continue. That will, as we continue to see some changes, perhaps there'll be additional legislation. I appreciate the information you shared with us today, which once again says that the development charges we've collected are less than what we budgeted for. We're seeing an impact with that respect. I know you mentioned that we'll have some broader conversations at budget time when it comes to our 10-year capital plan, but I think that, we have so very few mechanisms to collect revenue for the municipality that certainly all the changes that are happening with development charges have a big impact on us, and it warrants a bigger, broader conversation among staff and council. So I look forward to whenever that date is picked and those reports come.
Any other comments or questions? Call a vote. That carries. 8.5.2, Councilor Gallo, you pulled this one. Did you want to move it? I think it's just to receive.
Yes.
Yep, thank you. Seconder? Councilor Weiss. Go ahead, Councilor Gallo.
I just want to be clear that in approving this, now, unless staff have extra time to develop this policy, that's perfectly fine. But I want to be sure that in approving this, that does not mean that we're accepting it. until other levels of government are ponying up to fund. If we want to develop a policy, not unlike the region, fine. But I want to be crystal clear and sure that in approving this, we're not moving forward with a policy until we are certain that the other levels of government will be offsetting the associated costs. Mr. Mayor, could I get assurance of that?
Mr. Mayor Van Kessel, and I'll mention, it does mention dedicated funding from other levels of government that fully offset also the associated costs. But Ms. Mayor Van Kessel, if you can just confirm that, please.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. So for this policy, we would be looking for associated funding with it. We're not going to spend much time on developing a policy unless we get some certainty around that associated funding from other levels of government. We would also work in collaboration with the region because I believe they've done a fair bit of work on this type of policy, and then adjust that policy to make it for our Made in Aurora type of policy.
Yeah. Councillor, and I'll just add that the region, it was the same discussion that we had around the table, is that we weren't willing to move forward while we thought the policy was a good policy and a rebate program that would actually benefit first-time home buyers, and actually put the money back in the hands of actual homeowners instead of giving an exemption or rebate to development community. There was the conversation that we wanted to make sure that other levels of government were involved as well and make sure that they made us whole as part of that rebate program.
Yeah, and I agree. And we should find creative ways of figuring this out. At the same time, we can't further our issue of not collecting unless someone else is funding it. So if staff has time to develop this policy, great. If not, let's wait until we see what the other levels are doing.
Thank you. Councillor Weiss?
Yes, maybe it's the same thing, and maybe you answered the question, Mayor, but I'd like to just reinforce the issue about affordability and the importance of that the NEDC deferrals are not going to land on are going to land with the consumer as a result and not the developer. I mean, this purpose of this is to make it more affordable. And I think it's in the wording here, but I just want to make sure that that's happening. So if you can make sure that that's in that motion or that it's going to be part of the report, I'll appreciate it.
Absolutely, Councillor. I mean, what I can state is that, and I think I mentioned this when I first brought forward the motion to have us look at this rebate program. And when we discussed it at the region, the whole aspect of the program that makes it enticing for us to move forward with this is that a lot of the other things when we talk about rebates or incentivizing, it tends to fall on the development side. And we all know that we don't want to incentivize from that perspective and give those breaks there. We'd rather give it directly to the homeowners or to the residents. And that's what this does. This wouldn't be paid out. I mean, obviously, as we've stated, unless the other levels of government are making us whole. But on top of that, if they are making us whole, the eligibility would need to be met. And they wouldn't be getting paid out until they actually purchase the home, which means that the DCs have already been paid to us by the development community. So we've already received them. We would just be paying them back as a rebate to the homeowner. So yes.
Perfect. Thank you. That explains it.
Any other comments or questions? Call the vote. That carries. 8.7.1, Councillor Gillian, you pulled this council, we're going to do this in combination with 10.4 because it deals with the same issue, just so everyone's aware. Okay. Councillor Gillian, I need you to move something.
I'll probably make an amendment
Okay.
to it after I speak.
Sure. Seconder. Councillor Thompson, go ahead, Councillor Gillian.
Thank you. I appreciate the secondary report that was provided to council about the low income threshold and also a little bit more information about the cost effectiveness and how that would measure up within our budget. And so I just, for clarity's sake, if you could perhaps help us understand what those budget implications would be based on if we were to offer recommendation number 2, which is to offer a window clearing service to seniors and individuals having disability and those that fall under that threshold, but also includes that $200 charge for seniors that are 65 plus. Through you, Mr. Mayor, to Ms. Steenkamp.
Steenkamp.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, if we were to do just the seniors in low income that have a disability or over 65, there would be, based on last year's numbers, we had about 84 applicants. So we can do that within current staffing levels and there would be no impact to the budget. I can perform that duty under our operating with minimal impact. There might be some increased fuel, some maintenance on some vehicles, but all the other costs for staffing are already accommodated and we can fit that within the current service level that we provide. If you're considering including individuals that are over 65 at a $200 rate, that would cover the complete cost for hiring additional staff. Assuming that we would be over that 200 threshold that we're recommending we would need, then we would need an additional body. Those costs would be totally covered and it would be cost neutral then.
Counselor.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And just out of curiosity, I know that when we first launched it, obviously it was at no charge. We decided to figure out what that model was like and what the uptake was. And then we decided to charge a fee and the numbers reduced drastically. So it really did target the people who are really vested in interest in wanting this service. So in your opinion, do you feel that with our target rate right now, it would fall in line with our budget and what we're forecasting for next year as far as how many users would take advantage of this, or not take advantage, but would use this service in a meaningful way that would fall in line with the model that's being presented today?
Steenkamp.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, it's hard for staff to say exactly, but I would just assume based on the rate of $100 last year, we saw about a 50% decrease in the uptake for the program. If we were to double that, I would suspect we might see a further reduction, whether it's 50% or not, I can't say for sure, but I would anticipate a reduction in the number of applicants. And last year we had around 475 applicants, and that was inclusive of the ones that were subsidized by the town that were low income.
Counselor.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And I am in favor of making sure that we provide a service for people with disabilities and seniors who are over 65. And I really believe that what you've put through an alternative to could be a very good solution. I'm not really a fan of the $150 go hire your private contractor. I feel that can open up another can of worms, because if you or somebody who can afford the $800 or $1,200 to clear a driveway, that $150 is really not going to do much. And in fact, I would suggest and say that it's really going to be contributing to families that actually can afford to have their driveway cleared by a professional. So I think it kind of goes against what we're trying to do, which is to help subsidize the ones that really need it. And a lot of these seniors are on fixed income. So if they are in a position to pay that $200, to use this service, and I think that we're checking all those boxes if it's cost neutral. So, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make an amendment to this motion on the floor, and I did send it to the clerk earlier. And if I may, just want to get the most updated one. Oh, there we go. Council directs staff to revise the Windrow removal program to seniors 65 plus at a cost of $200 per household, and offer a subsidized Windrow service to individuals who identify as having a disability and seniors 65 plus who also fall under the low income threshold. And I also think it's important that staff do report back in Q2 2026 with the results of this program to monitor its progress and offer any recommendations to improve the service or budget model. As we've seen, just quick comments, is that we've had variations in different winters, and I think that this is something that would be beneficial.
Seconder. Councilor Thompson. Speaking to the amendment. Sir Weiss.
Thanks. I like this amendment. I do have a question, however, about low income, and it's through you probably to Ms. Teenkamp. Which method of identifying low income and low income threshold are you intending on using? And the reason I'm bringing this up is that low income thresholds are usually identify a poverty line. And I think we're not just talking about poverty here. What we're talking about the ability to pay. And I think many of the low income thresholds, no matter which one you use, are really quite low. And I think it may not capture some of the people that really need it, people that are greater than $21,000 of income for an individual. And I think it goes up to $28,000 as a family of 5. So could you expand a little bit on how you're going to identify financial need through you, Mayor?
Steenkamp.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. So the federal government dictates what low income is. And as staff, that's what we're the most comfortable following. And as a result, there are certain programs that would classify them as low income. So we're looking for certification from those residents that they're enrolled in one of these programs. It's not a T4 or any kind of personal information that we're asking from them. We're asking for them to show us that they're in an Ontario Works program, a guaranteed income supplement program, an Ontario disability support program, or a resettlement assistance program. And those are all recognized as low income programs that are subsidized through the federal government.
Councilor.
Great. I read that and I think that's fine. I just am concerned that it's going to be too difficult for people, some of the people to enter this program, even though they're at low income, but a little higher income than those thresholds. So we'll have to wait and see what happens with the pilot and see how that comes forward and how many complaints you may have through that. So thank you.
You, Councilor Gallo, to the amendment.
Thank you. I just want some clarity on the wording. It says that staff to revise the Windrow removal program to seniors 65 plus at a cost of $200 per household and offer a subsidized Windrow service to the individuals. I'm not sure what that means. Does that mean that people who are identified as having a disability or seniors 65 who fall under the low income will be subsidized the $200?
Councilor, yes, it'd be at no cost unless the council, I got the councilor's intention. Yep. So it'd be at no cost to those that identify as.
Okay. And I just want confirmation. I know I heard it, but I want to hear it again, that as a result of this, that there's no, there's no impact to the budget. And if it can be absorbed within the current department budget, okay. And that's fine. But I don't want, or I won't be supporting this if in any way there's an increase to the department's budget. Through you, Mr. Mayor.
Steenkamp.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. No, certainly from what I've explained, that there is no impact currently. If we are working with the numbers that we had last year as a low income, around that 85, I mean, even if we had a little bit over 100, we can still absorb that with the current staff level that we have. We don't need to hire additional people. We have the equipment in place. There might be some, as I said, some nominal costs for some additional fuel, maybe some maintenance, but those things can be absorbed within the current operational budget. If we add $200,000 or $200 per household for anybody else who's able-bodied and not in low income, and they apply for the program, that is 100% cost recoverable, and there'll be no impact to the budget.
So
Councilor.
through you, Mr. Mayor, will there be a cutoff for the subsidized at whatever 100 or whatever the number is that we feel we can subsidize, or will it be open and if it goes past a certain number, then it's no longer cost recovery? Through you, Mr. Mayor.
Steenkamp.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I would think, I don't expect us to see a large jump in increase. I mean, people move into the Aurora, slight variations within it. But I wouldn't expect a huge difference. if for some reason there was a significant jump in it, I think we need to maybe reevaluate the numbers that are coming in and how we're authorizing those levels. But for this year, I think we could, if we had 150 that were low income or something, that we could deal with that internally if we had
Okay.
to.
That's all I want to hear. Thank you.
Counselor?
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions to the amendment? Before I call the vote, I just did want to ask, Ms. Smith, can we get the communications out if this passes immediately? Because I'm assuming we would want to see enrollment start right away. I know other municipalities that have provided this program have already started with enrollment. So I think it's imperative on us to get going on this if this does pass tonight. I see you nodding your head, yes. So thank you. Call the vote. That carries back to the main motion as amended. And if there are no other comments, I will call the vote on that. We'll just wait for it to get up on the screen. Yep, that's good. Call the vote. It carries. Okay, so we'll go to 10.1 motion. Someone like to move this? Councillor Thompson, seconder, Councillor Kim, any comments or questions? Call a vote. Carries 10.2. There's another motion. Someone like to move that? Councillor Gilliland, thank you. Councillor Kim, second. Any comments or questions? Call the vote. That carries 10.3. It's the Aurora Family Leisure Complex Emergency Building Envelope Repairs. Someone like to move the recommendation? Councillor Geller, was that move it? Thank you. Seconder. Councillor Kim, any comments or questions on this one? Councillor Thompson, go ahead.
Thank you. I'm not debating the need for doing this. I just want to have better understanding around the contingency. So we have one of the letters is from the consultants who is guesstimating that the repairs will be around the $350,000 mark, but then we've also allocated about a 15% contingency. Who would be best to speak to it? Perhaps Mrs. McDougall, about why we feel 15% is appropriate, considering many of the other projects we typically use 5 or 10%.
Ms. McDougall?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I do believe majority, and certainly our manager of facilities here to correct me if I may be off here, but with regards to this project, because we've got a lot of the wall to still take off, elements from behind may be more to discover. And I think it's just wise to have that extra buffer. Obviously, any unspent funds will be returned to source, but enables us to keep moving and moving forward with this project and getting it finished, and hopefully capture the full scope of it once we uncover the wall.
Councillor?
Thank you. And then can we assume that when the project is completed, I know we typically do get a capital project report, but maybe there'll be a little bit more detail with regards to what we did find and what needed to be done to repair the facility? For you, Mr. Mayor?
Ms. McDougall?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, certainly we can make sure that that is provided for council.
Thanks.
Thank you. Mr. Gillen?
Thank you. Just for clarity and obviously for the public as well, it's coming from an asset management reserve for facilities. And I'm just curious, through Mr. Mayor to Ms. Van Kessel, the health of that reserve, just if you can clarify what kind of impact that would make to that reserve.
Mr. Van Kessel.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, so we have considered this, the impact of this in our reserve projections that we're doing for the 2026 budget and 10-year capital plan, and we can absorb this cost within the plan and what we're looking at moving forward.
Councillor.
Thank you. And through you, Mr. Mayor, to I'm not sure who wants to answer. I just kind of want to know, I mean, this is obviously titled emergency, and I just want to understand how we got to this point.
Kyle, did you want to come down? Go ahead, Kyle.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. So in the report talks about staff doing an inspection in the summer. Staff identified some loose bricks, splitting bricks, loose mortar at a high probability that it would cause damage to property or persons. So we took the initiative and blocked off the area, hired the consultant to do a more exploratory investigation on it. We also procured a masonry to help assist with that. And then throughout the investigation, it was discovered there was some erosion or corroded to the structural components to it, which obviously elevated the need for the emergent repairs to it. So that's why we're here today.
Councillor.
Thank you. I guess what my question was, obviously this is emergency, so it was just a matter of doing a usual annual inspection. You notice there were some loose bricks, and that's kind of what it manifested to. I just didn't know if there was kind of a way to identify this issue being as large as it is a lot earlier than the situation now seems rather urgent. So I'm just curious as to whether or not there was a way that was there something missed that didn't help us identify this problem earlier to be in this situation? I guess that's kind of where I'm getting at.
Kyle.
Mayor, I'm not aware of kind of the history on it. I know that during the inspection in the summer, it was noted that there was localized repairs throughout the brick. In the report, it notes kind of mismatch of material within it. So it looks like there was some repairs done previous years. I don't think it addressed the root cause, which from the consultant's report talks about some of the building practices that were used back during original construction. So from there, it was kind of, okay, well, let's address the main concern, which is take it all down, see what's behind it, and then reconstruct it properly as opposed to doing localized repairs.
Councillor.
Thank you. So from what I'm hearing, it's a known issue to have existed and was being repaired on an ad-need basis, but we've kind of gotten to a point where we can't do that anymore. So now we have to do this major repair because we decided to do this, I guess, more elevated inspection with the masonry, and that's kind of how we got here. Would that be a fair assessment?
Mr. Mayor, correct. Based on the consultant's observations, it was recommended to take the wall down, especially noted some of these structural components that had developed some corrosion to it. And obviously, if we don't kind of tackle the root cause of it now, that we're just going to commit to more localized repairs and more maintenance costs throughout the years.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And obviously you want to do it right. And I'm glad we did hire somebody to do this inspection so we can get to the root cause. I just, obviously, hopefully there's some, I know no one can predict these things, but just some learning in the sense that as our buildings are all kind of aging in and around the same time, that we try not to get ourselves in a situation with these Band-Aid solutions. I know there's other buildings that are in dire need of some repair. For instance, the senior center has been asking for a lot of repairs with internal leaking and stuff as well. And I just want to ensure that we are looking in the 10-year plan to ensure that these types of, $500,000 emergency repairs don't pop up again. That's what I'm trying to get at.
Councillor Reese.
Yes, thank you. And I see in the interim forecast update in community services, there's $1.6 million deferred due to construction delays for the FLC and the dehumidification. Is this structural work that is being done, is that likely possible or not even related to the dehumidification problem that we see in the AFLC that we've known for a while? Through you, Mayor?
Kyle?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, no, they're two different areas of the building. The one within the motion speaks to the natatorium, the pool side, and it's localized just in that area.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments, questions? We'll vote. Thank you. Thank you, Kyle. That carries. New business. Ms. Reese.
Regarding the interest that we have in the ASE program, I've received questions. Of course, the region has their speed cameras and they're operational now. And we've heard discussion provincially about whether they are going to go ahead or not. Can you or can we ask for a report on the implementation of our existing ASE program and whether it's underway, it's on schedule, it's canceled, any other information that we can gather through that, through you, Mayor, to someone?
Sure. I think we can get a report, but I think we're all going to have an understanding probably by the end of the week of what's going on.
Okay, fair enough.
I'll leave it at that. How's that?
I accept that things
Okay.
pop up in this environment.
If we don't find out by the end of the week, we'll get a report in council.
Great. My next question has to do with the promenade study, and there are a number of questions having to do with the security of those buildings as being heritage buildings. And so I haven't heard anything except a conversation that I've had with our heritage planner, Mr. Rob, about the protection of the heritage buildings. So I think that would be of interest as well for us to have a clear understanding. Now, I don't know if that will be part of the open house on the in the next 2 days, I guess. But can we make sure that that information is available for the public during the open house?
Sure. Mr. Romano, can we make sure that protection of the heritage properties in our downtown and promenade area are part of the conversation at the open house?
Thank you. Thanks all for me.
Thank you. Councilor Gillen, new business?
Thank you. Through Mr. Mayor to Ms. Teen Camp, I had some questions about pickleball. We have some new courts hopefully coming in to be installed in Fleury Park sometime soon. And I was hoping perhaps you could shed a little light on a little bit of the process and which staff is at and what the intentions are that you can within your purview.
Teen Camp?
Through you, Mr. Mayor. Currently, we are out for public tender with the park design and construction phase of the project. We hope to have that tender closed within a couple weeks. And that's inclusive of a 8-court pickleball complex. It's been designed to specifications that are similar to other courts within the region for pickleball and designed by a consultant who's very familiar with court design. So we're looking forward to having some championship play courts with a little bit of extra space around them. There's bleachers included, there's shade for the complex, and we think it'll be a nice feature to the community.
Council?
Thank you. Well, I know I'm excited, and I know there's a lot of pickleballers in Aurora that are very excited as well. And I really look forward to the installation of this, and hopefully this moves along quickly. My own personal, I don't know what the plans and all that look like. My own personal request is if we can have the courts closed into some point in the middle. And if there was a way to put some wind screening around, that would be great. Because I know pickleball tends to be affected by the weather very easily. And that would be something that I would think that I wouldn't want to have being overlooked. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Councilor Thompson? Councilor Gall? Go ahead.
It's not new business, but I'm going to slide it in really quickly just to wish our Jewish friends a happy Rosh Hashanah today. And
Thank you.
yesterday and tomorrow.
Councillor Kim, new business? I got one. It's also not new business, but I got to slide it in because we won't have another time and it's an important date. So I hope everyone will join us in commemoration on October 3rd, which is a Friday at 5:30 p.m. because we'll be gathering at Peace Park to mark the 100th anniversary and rededication of the Aurora War Memorial. It was first unveiled in 1925 by Aurora, Whitchurch and King, led by the Aurora Legion. The ceremony will be followed by a reception at the Legion, time to reflect, honor, and unite as a community. Right now, you can go out there and you can visit the In Their Memory exhibition at the Peace Park, exploring the memorial's origins, the lives it honors, and the evolving meaning of remembrance. The town has completed restoration work as well, with more enhancements ahead, including an Indigenous Veterans Memorial in 2026. Commemorative banners across Aurora, King, and Stouffville bear the names of those remembered, keeping their legacy alive. So let's all come together to remember, reflect, and reaffirm our shared commitment to honoring those who served. So we'll see everyone October 3rd for that. Bylaws, could I get a motion for the bylaws? Councillor Thompson, Councillor Gilland. Any comments, questions? Call the vote. That carries. Confirming bylaw. Councillor Gallo, Councillor Thompson, all those in favor? Opposed? That carries. Motion to adjourn. Councillor Weiss, Councillor Gilland, all those in favor? Opposed? That carries. We are adjourned. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a good evening.